Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes the God's Not Dead movies special, is that they've always, since the first one, have sparked, so much conversation. And our goal in this movie is not to necessarily, well, it's not to beat somebody over the head with what we think is the truth, or what we think is right. It's to open up that conversation, to tell an authentic, organic story, so no matter what you believe, like, for example, I play a pastor in the movie, and my brother, of course, no movie would be complete if you didn't have the brother be an atheist, right? And so you have a pastor and his brother an atheist. And what happens there? What kind of conversations, get sparked out of that whole thing? And the movie's full of that. I mean, it's really, it shows both sides, and I think that's what makes this movie special. PureFlix's goal is to make films that uplift and inspire the human spirit, to ultimately to bring people to higher levels of insight to who God is and the purpose that He has for their lives. And that's what our hope is for all of these films.
Well, you look at the world, you look at the politics, you look at the natural, disasters, and everybody is searching and running, and I think we're all aware that today could be our last day. And so at the end of your life, who are you going to answer to, and who are you going to cry out to? And I think, definitely people are hungry and they're searching, and so hopefully we can bring some hope to the audience.
John Corbett is the thing I think that everybody knows about him, is he's so darn likable. Like, in every scene he's ever done, you just like the guy, and he's just fun. And so we had a great time on set, and then Tatum's is just awesome to work with. So lots of great cast. Ted McGinley I've known for a long time, and you were in the last Do You Believe? She was in Do You Believe with him, and it just was great. They're awesome.
A film like this is so important now, just because it's really reflecting what our country and our world is like right now. There's just so much unrest, so many people just with such differing views, and at the end of the day, I think this movie is about how we can disagree on really important matters and still respect each other. I love being an actress, and then getting to actually share my faith also. Huge bonus.
There's a university, it has a church on it. Someone sets that church on fire and a man is killed, and the community isn't sure if they want that church rebuilt in the same place. It might be best if it's off campus. And I'm the brother of Reverend Dave, whose church is burned down. Even though we've been estranged for many years, I'm a big city lawyer, and he wants my help to come fight this thing called eminent domain, which, in my opinion, in this case, he's being taken advantage of. So I decided to come help him, even though I'm an atheist and he's a Christian. This happens to be an inspirational movie. It's still a movie. I'm not sure movies heal people in the way that you might be inferring, but they're sure a great escape for a couple hours from people's everyday lives to go see a movie, and that's really the only reason I go.
It's a good movie. I mean, it is inspirational. It is about an interesting subject between people and their crisis of faith and eminent domain, and it's a whodunit, it's a legal drama. It's got so many elements. But it's a good movie, and I do think people will talk about it afterwards.
I think right now the world is in need of a lot of healing, and I think that's what this movie is about. This movie is about finding common ground, even if you don't see eye to eye 100% on things. And so I hope that's one of the main takeaways the audiences get. It's just like, look, we don't have to agree on everything, but at the core of everything, we're human beings, and we can at least treat each other well. I absolutely hope it sparks a conversation. I think that so often, rather than have an uncomfortable conversation or a conversation where people don't see eye to eye, they just don't have that conversation, and you have a missed opportunity with that. You might find, in having that dialogue, you might find something in common with somebody that you would have never thought of before. Every time you get to play a character that you can connect with in a real way, there's a joy to that, and I think that the journey that my character goes through, I play Adam, and the journey that he goes through in this film is something. He's a completely different person in the end of film than when he started the film. And for me as an actor, that was really fun. But also me as a person in the journey that he goes through, I could connect a lot with that, because it was a lot of what I went through in my own life. And so I hope that his journey inspires people.
The main theme of the film is really listening to each other and hearing, what people actually have to say versus casting judgments right away. So, I hope people can leave inspired and encouraged by that. For me, character and story is really important, and I think with Keaton specifically, her story I felt like I could really do something fun with, and I felt like it was really relatable as well, because she's kind of at that point in life that, she's in college, she's surrounded by all these different opinions, and she's really kind of searching for who she actually is and what she actually believes, and I think that was what was attractive to me about the story. We shot in Little Rock, Arkansas, so it was just a super small town, and I knew Shane, so that was fun to work together again, and it was just really cool and casual.
I think everyone kind of feels the social and political kind of divisiveness in our time, especially in America. It's really loud, and a lot of people are yelling. I think this movie promotes a different kind of approach to conflict resolve, where it's not the good guys, here are the good guys, here are the bad guys, and the good guys win in the end because they do this thing that makes other people feel bad. This is kind of a different resolve, and I think that it's hopefully going to promote grace and kindness, gentleness, and the idea that we could have differing opinions but still talk them through and not be so hateful towards the other side. It was really edifying and special. The whole process kind of it bled through a little bit, So the narrative of the movie and kind of the narrative of life kind of blurred, which is fun.
We're in a difficult time. We're in a time of partisanship on both sides, where nobody's listening. And I think having a movie that has things that are universal to everybody, not just faith-based, that where you can learn to talk to each other and come together and have the conversations, that it's just good for people to see people on two different sides of an opinion be able to come together and have faith in God, sort of be a part of it. I think that we all need to be having better and more conversations. We had a girl whose mother died in the Puerto Rican storm, and we all got together and said a prayer for her, and she had to leave the set. And I think that the faith and the importance of it was always sort of the foundation on the set, at least.
There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot going on currently in our own country, around the world, and this is a film that sort of mirrors that. There's a lot of conflict in this film, and they're trying to represent all the different sides of conflict. And the idea is to not vilify somebody who has a different point of view, but to accept that someone has a different point of view, and that makes it. We're so busy trying to get our own viewpoint across that we don't listen. So the idea of this film is that what would happen if we all sort of decided to stop and just listen, and then try to figure out a way to agree without judging and vilifying somebody on the other side. When you take a project like this, you do a lot of talking with the director and working through things, and we had a lot of constant conversation about making sure that the other side was heard in a respectful way, that if you were that person on the other side, you didn't come out of here saying I was unfairly portrayed, and that the idea again is to make sure that we just have different points of view, and it doesn't make you a bad person, it doesn't make you a villain. It's just that some people have come from a place of faith, some people don't, some people feel one way politically, some feel another. It's all okay. It's just how do we deal with it? How do we listen, and how do we make the world a better place? I've done a few films for Pure Flix. I like working for them. they walk the walk